Good evening. Welcome everyone to Thirsty Thursdays. I'm very excited about this week's guest. I hope you've all had a really nice week. I have just jumped on. I've poured myself a little glass of rosé from the lovely Bay Wines. And I have a very exciting guest tonight, which I'm super excited to welcome. I've just seen that she's come on, so I'm going to join her in. She needs very introduction. And she's one of my favorite people ever. She's a gem.
Hello!
Hello, Esther.
How are you?
I'm good, sweetheart. Oh, golly. I've
Oh,
just
oh, oh.
How are
Hey.
you?
I'm good. I feel like I haven't seen you in a really long time.
It's been a really long time. I feel like the last time was like probably just after 9. Actually, the last time I saw you was at that Zara event.
Oh, yes. That was an amazing event.
That was when the Zara store opened.
That was really beautiful. Yes, that's right.
How are you?
I'm good. I feel like life's going a little bit more back to normal. Which I felt like at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna love when it's back to normal. And I'm a little bit like, oh, I've gotten a bit comfortable in my isolation.
Do you know what? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I was literally saying to someone the other day, I was like, because a few times I've gone to like shopping centers or even just like different people's houses, and I'm finding myself getting like way too stimulated, and I'm like really tired, and I'm like, I just want to go home to my couch.
I know. How funny how tired. I'm always like, why am I tired? I'm not doing what I used to do. But I think that, totally. I think you get used to like your new normal and maybe that becomes exhausting.
Totally. Well,
I mean, you must be exhausted because of all of the incredible dancing. Honestly, I'm like, how does he learn these routines so fast? It's really impressive.
Oh, thank you. Well, do you know what? These dances have literally made, like, they give me a sense of purpose and happiness during this time, because I was actually going to say to you that your COVID content has been getting me through, like the makeup tutorials, the singing, the smoothies. I feel like I'm seeing a whole new side to you, because
thanks.
You need to set some kind of routine, right? When you're like sitting at home all day.
Definitely. And because of course content is part of our job and what we do, and we want to let people into our lives so they can feel connected, to us, so that then, they feel even more connected to the music. And I feel like, that was a little bit of a departure, because I'm so used to posting about my music, which is my main love. And I was like, what do I do? And then I thought, I'll show people actually these things that I really love. This coffee smoothie that I absolutely love. Oh
my God, that coffee smoothie is amazing.
How good is it?
It's so good. I actually love it so much.
I'm so glad, because I was obsessed with it. Like, I had it every single day, and I just chucked stuff together and it just ended up tasting really good. But I'm really glad you enjoyed that. And then even singer's tea, I had so many people write to me about this singer's tea, which is basically just the tea I have before I sing. And I was just floored that so many people get so excited about those things. It's so nice.
Well, I'm super excited to have this chat with you tonight. I feel like I've gone off to a bumpy start. I've knocked my phone over and I've dropped but I filled up my glass of rosé, and I'm ready to chat. Good girl. So generally I always start by asking, what's your drink of choice normally?
Do you know what? So this is another thing that's changed in ISO. I was always a white wine drinker, like cocktails and white wine, and cocktails, like I'm kind of, I'll try and see how I go. But usually they were pretty sweet. And then I got into rosé, and that was all I was into. And now I'm a red wine girl.
Oh my God, stop. I never used to drink red wine until lockdown.
Oh, same. Yeah. What has happened to us?
I don't know. We're adults now.
We're adults. And my fiance is so happy because he loves red wine. So he's like, yes, I'm so glad you came to the party. So yeah, I like a Pinot Noir or a Shiraz.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to send you some, because we've got amazing local wineries in Geelong, and they make such good wine. So
yes, I will take that.
Amazing. So you need very little introduction, but I'm going to give you a little intro. So this is your life, Samantha Jade.
I love it. Tell me.
So, okay, 16 years in the music industry. You, my darling, as we all know, are singer, songwriter, actress. Truly, you've become a fashion and a beauty icon too, which I really love for you.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, you debuted your career in Australia on the X Factor and became the first woman to win X Factor
Yeah.
and debuted with the #1 single, no less. You've gone on to win an ARIA. You've been nominated for a Logie. You've graced our screens on Home and Away. You played Kylie, Never Tear Us Apart. And you are like truly just an iconic household name in Australia and beyond. So it's a joy to have you.
I feel fantastic after that intro, just to let you know. Thank you very much.
To give everyone a little bit of context as to how we know each other. So
yes,
I fell in love with you on TV like everyone else did. But it was truly when Firestarter came out, my boyfriend at the time and I played it on a loop. Like that was when the obsession really began deep.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Sydney, I sort of set some goals as like a stylist. What do I want to do? And I remember saying to my mum at the time, I really want to style an iconic pop music video, and it's going to be with Samantha Jade. And
I know
she was like, she's like, okay, honey, no worries. Anyway,
yeah.
and then we met through Cosmo.
Yeah.
It was kind of like love at first sight. Like we're both Aries, we both love the Kardashians, we both love Paris. It was easy. It was like... it was very easy.
Yeah.
And then we went on to do Always, which for each of us respectively was a real milestone. It was such a milestone for you as an artist and for myself as a stylist. And I just remember, I don't know how much of this you remember, but the night before the Always shoot, my partner of 4 years and I broke up the night before.
Yes.
And I came to the shoot with like 3 hours sleep, and you showed such empathy. I will never forget that. But what I learned in the 3 months of working with you was how incredibly hard you work, A. B, how incredibly involved in every creative decision that happens for, SJ, you are a part of. And how incredibly kind you are. So I couldn't rave about you more.
That is so nice. Gosh, I remember that. Thank you. I remember that. And I was like, are you okay? Do you need a second? How are you doing this?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think it speaks volumes for you as a person. So generally, I like to start off the chat with asking you about your childhood. Tell me about little Sammy growing up in Perth. What was she like?
Yeah, well, I think I was a handful, if you would ask my parents. I was always, every video I see, my dad was really big with the VHS. Like he would come and, he would film everything. And I'm so glad he did that because he didn't have any videos when he was little. So he was like, I'm going to make sure that my kids do. And so I was a camera hog. Like I'm always like, Dad, film this, film me, film this. And I just loved it. And I was always singing. I remember as a child feeling like that was the best way I could express myself by actually just singing. And I would write little songs and, when you could press on like a radio, you could press record and play at the same time and it would record your voice.
Yes.
Remember you could do that? And so I would make like my own radio station, but I'd be the song and I'd be the presenter. I was working really hard. But so I found that was my outlet, and it was always what I did. As soon as I went into my room, I'd be singing or performing.
Oh, I love that. Now, I just have a somewhat, I guess, topical question to what's happening in the greater world, because I know, and I'm sure a lot of your fans know, that you come from a mixed race family, and your mum was Scottish and your dad is Indian. And I saw that you went to the BLM protests, as did I, in Melbourne. So I was just curious to know, did you ever encounter any kind of racism growing up being a part of a mixed race family, or was that not a thing? Or
I got to say, I have an experience with my dad, definitely. I do. I was actually telling this story to someone the other day because obviously, my parents were both from different places. And I remember being picked up from primary school and my dad walked in and they were like, we had just learnt stranger danger. Do you remember when you learnt that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And so you go, stranger danger, stranger danger. And they started chanting stranger danger. Like as my dad walked in and I was like, I was so confused because I was like, that's my dad. And I didn't see the difference. I truly didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm so confused at what's happening. And my dad, just with all the grace in the world, just walked in and he was like, oh, I'm Sammy's dad, took me out. And what he said to me was, oh, how funny, is that what you learnt today? Why did you learn that? We spoke about that. I don't really remember, but he's told me since. And he never mentioned he felt any way towards it. He just kind of led with kindness and yeah. And I remember, yeah, but I do remember that moment. It's been something that I can see in my life forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't against me. It was against my dad. And I just always ask him, like, how in those moments are you so kind? But
Yeah, your family are pretty epic. So speaking of family and early life, I know that we were introduced to you by way of X Factor, but your career in music actually started globally 10 years prior to X Factor. So
yeah.
I feel like I've listened to you all week, by the way, like various
Oh,
interviews, podcasts. I've learned so much about you. So I know that your love for music, I guess, really started early on, very much with influences like Whitney and Mariah and songs like Unchained Melody and, you know,
yes.
all those moments of like, wait, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
And then it's my understanding that at 15, you kind of record this demo and then somehow that demo lands in LA. And then at 17, your whole family is like moves to LA.
Yeah.
You spend a year kind of singing for various record labels and then you get signed to Jive, which is like
Yes.
our girl Britney,
Yes.
JT,
Yes.
like, you know, the dream,
Yeah.
the dream of dreams. So what was that experience like at such an early age?
It was, so when you're, in the industry and especially back then, if you wanted to be a pop star or anything in pop, you wanted to be signed to Jive Records. That was like the thing. It was the place to be. And, it was, like you said, Britney, it was Justin Timberlake, it was Pink, it was so many people that I had idolized and just wanted to be like. And I'm from Perth. I was like, if I can even go have a meeting in that room, that's my own version of success.
Totally.
And so when I got that deal, I remember walking out of the boardroom and I sang for the boardroom, which was so scary. But you have this weird confidence at like 16,
Totally.
but, like that you don't have now. That you're like, can I grab some of that off you? And I sang and I left, and they emailed my manager at the time saying, "Who's your lawyer?" Which is basically like, "Let's do the deal."
Let's do this.
And I was like, oh my, what do you mean? Like, this is insane. It was so, I don't think I understood what it was, because now I look back and go, gosh, so young to have something so big happen to you. How did you deal with it? So, yeah, it was a really big life change, but my parents they were always with me, and my mum came everywhere with me. So I was so lucky because I always had my kind of moral compass everywhere with me.
Totally.
So I was able to appreciate it, but not, take it on for the wrong reasons, and not let it feed my ego. I was just excited by everything. And then by the time I was 21, my deal fell through. So it's a weird thing by the time you're 21 to lose kind of in your mind everything. So yeah, I think that I grew up a lot very young.
Well, that leads me perfectly to my next question because, you gained some real momentum in LA. You got to write music you got to be in rooms with Darkchild, Wyclef, like iconic, writers and producers.
Yeah.
You got to write for JoJo. Your first foray was with the lead single to Step Up, like Wild, right?
Yeah.
But then you have this moment where you are, it's all seemingly very glamorous and very Hollywood. And then you're driving to Vegas for a friend's birthday and you get a phone call that changes your life.
Yeah.
Can you just take me back to that moment and I guess what that was like?
Yeah, well, so we were driving, it was January, I remember it, and it was going to be her 21st, and it was obviously in America, that's kind of like our 18th, it's even bigger one, because you can then go out and you can drink and you feel like a real adult, you can have your rosé. And we were in the car, and I got a call, and the call was basically like, we've left Jive, it's over. And it was such a quick like call. And I remember hanging up, and I remember exactly, in those moments you remember so many details.
Everything.
Driving past this big kind of courthouse, And I was like, I had no idea what had just happened. It took me so long to process it. Because I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, we've left that and we'll just get another deal. That, you know, that's what's going to happen. And I feel like it took me a minute. And then when it really hit me, I was like, wow, everything I've worked for, my life is over. And I was such a baby, but that part of my life really was. It was a really, really, really big deal. And I think for anyone in the industry, you know, a lot, especially pop, a lot of the time the goal is to get a record deal.
Of
And a
course.
lot of the time is to break in America. And so, yeah, I didn't really understand how crazy that moment was until, like, I feel like even a month later, where I was sitting there going, wow, that was a tough thing to get.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, as a young adult, that was really your first encounter with what failure, I guess, feels like, or this moment of, like, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
true crippling, like,
yes,
you know, sadness and grief, right?
yes,
At a time also that was pre-social media, and
yeah,
artists didn't have a voice to talk
yes,
about, you know, because there were many other artists at that time going through what you were going through, but you guys
yeah,
didn't have Facebook or Twitter or whatever, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I just want to very quickly talk about the day that you call one of the worst days, where you're having this meeting with this exec, a meeting that you didn't even want to go to. And then
yes,
he says to you, you're super talented and everything, darling, but you
yeah,
don't have a star tone. Now,
home, yeah,
first of all,
yeah,
he's cancelled. By Felicia to him, because he couldn't have been more
100%.
he couldn't have been more wrong.
Thank you.
But what do you think was the greatest lesson that came from that moment, that worst day moment?
That day, well, and I remember it so well as well. That day was the day because you know, when you're kind of walking around and you're a little bit broken, but you're holding it together and you're finding something to keep you going. It was all up until that day that then I broke, completely broke. And when he said that to me, that was in my own head. My tone was what I went into rooms and was told was good. So I, you know, worked with Timberland, and Timberland was like, your tone's crazy. And when I went with Darkchild, that was what was the general kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to be told that that is the bad thing, I was like, well, what else do I have? And that was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
It ruined me. And I was truly broken after that moment.
Mm.
And it took me a really long time to get back up. But I'm glad, and this, I can only say this now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he said that to me,
Mm.
because I was forced to completely break and go,
Mm.
actually, I'm not okay. Actually, that's not okay. And actually, that really hurts. And there's a lot of stuff I have to deal with here, because I was just so used to getting on with the show. And
Totally.
the moment where I was like, okay, no, I'm a puddle. I'm a mess.
Aww. And look, so in that moment, you then move back to Perth. You go
Yeah.
from being like at the American Music Awards to working
Yeah.
in your in the factory with your dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a reality check that must have been.
I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine? Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. Funnily enough, I've had many similar experiences to that, you know, but I think those are they're the crossroads moments that change your life, right? So
Absolutely.
your parents encourage you to audition for X Factor, which I love this story that your dad transferred you money to buy a necklace at Diva for your
Yep.
audition. And then how wild that a year later you would have a sellout line at Diva.
I know. And
The
that,
universe.
that day I was like, Dad, because I get stress rashes when I'm nervous, and they're quite bad. They're like these red blotches. And so I always used to wear like high necks or, you know, a bit of a scarf. And I was like, this top, it doesn't go with that. And I need something to, and so my dad's like, here's like, it was $25 or whatever it was. It was those big, you know, those plated, they were really in at the time.
Yes.
It was one of those. And I was like, that'll cover my stress rash perfectly. And then, yeah, full circle to having a line.
Full circle. And then you go to the X Factor and you do that audition, which I watched today and made me cry. What do you think inspired you to, after all the adversity and losing, you know, what you lost in LA, what was the thing that was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a crack?
I mean, I would say that was about a year and a half after that meeting. So it was a long time after. And I think that what happened was I I had kind of broken down, you know, done my little lists of
Mm.
what haven't I done and why is it not connecting and where has it gone wrong? Because it's not always the other person. You've got to be accountable.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I haven't really been out in the public. I've been an industry kid. I've been behind the scenes of the industry for as long as I can remember. I know producers, I know writers, I know industry people, but I don't know the actual people who will support my music. And so I thought, if I go out there and I just sing a song, and that's why I chose that song, because I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into any category.
Yes.
So I was like, I'll
Yes.
just sing an acoustic, beautifully written song. And I just thought, if I go out there and I sing, then they're judging me on my voice, and I'm like, here, give it to me, judge me, because they're not industry people. They're just people who love, those people who watch those shows love singers. They love
Yes.
music. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I just thought, I have the public as the only people that I haven't spoken to yet. So that's why I really wanted to try a show like that.
And I mean, your time on that show was phenomenal. So, you know, and also you were on that show at a time where singing competition shows were at their prime and their peak.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people consume those shows like that anymore today. But, you know, I remember, so the turning point moment for me was Heartless. I remember being at a club and it came on, the Kanye version came on, and all my girlfriends and I were like, wait a minute, have you seen Samantha Jade's version of Heartless?
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
no,
so
it's one of my favorites ever.
Oh.
And then obviously you went on to win the competition,
which
again, I watched that today and was like sobbing away like a little child, because
I
it was
truly didn't think that would happen.
right.
Because I was in the bottom two more than any contestant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was the biggest takeaway from the X Factor chapter?
I feel like the growing I did on that show, I wouldn't have done without that show. Truly, like, it was, because I was forced to just be like, here I am to be judged by all every week. And it was it built me back up, because I honestly, when I went onto that show, my confidence was shot. There was nothing left. And it was a push even to audition. So every week I just became a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. And by the end, I feel like I found my voice again. And not in the way of like, find your voice. I truly found my voice. I knew how to sing again. I forgot how to sing like myself there for a second, because I was trying to be everything that everyone wanted me to be within the industry. And I was like, just found who I was again. And I think as well, I was so proud to be the first female winner.
Yes, queen.
That was just so amazing. I was like, yes.
And that song as well, like, you know, sometimes with those shows, they do the winner's single and you're like, oh yeah, cute. But that song is like, I still love it today so much.
It's a good song. I was so happy they play you the song, you know, that they have in mind for you. And I knew the writers, DNA, who I absolutely love. And they're amazing. And I was like, oh, it's them. It's going to be great. But you still don't ever know. And they played it and I was like, oh my, I like this song. Like, I would like this song. I was like, yes, because I'm a songwriter. So it's always a bit iffy when you know, singing other people's songs. But that song's such a great song. It's so beautiful. Acoustic. It's nice. Piano, like it's such a great song.
I often find actually with your music that with Firestarter, for example, it's like, yes, I want to dance to it at Arc or at Pool, but when you play the acoustic version, it kills me. It is like it is everything.
Thank you. Yeah, that acoustic version is really moody and really like it's kind of dark, but it's nice. Yeah.
So my dear, we're gonna get a little bit deep for a moment, because life is very layered and it comes with many peaks and valleys. And you know, you get to this point where you finally have your career that you've dreamed of and worked tirelessly for. And then you're on this Westfield shoot and you receive another life-changing phone call. And I know in the short time that we were, you know, worked together and have been friends, you've spoken about how difficult you know, your mother's cancer journey was, and losing your mother. But I always feel, and I know you feel this way as well, that life is always about lessons, right? So all I want to ask you about that is, what do you think the greatest lesson was throughout that horrific chapter of your life?
It was such I feel like it put everything into a perspective that I needed to know. I was all consumed by my work, and that was it for, that was all that I thought I had, and all I thought I was. And then when my mum got sick, it was a shock, because she went in with a cold, and they basically told us that day, the first day, she's got a month. And we were like, wait, what? And this is someone who was healthy, who was fine, who I'd just seen 2 weeks before that being completely normal. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it just made me stop my life. I pretty much moved back to Perth, and, we went through the whole journey together, and we got closer than ever, which was such a gift. But seeing my mum, how she handled it made me just, I guess, sit back and go, there are so many more things in life, and my roles as a sister and a daughter are so much more important than any of the roles that I play. And so I think that that's what I took away. I was like, wow, I really want to, I've always put my family first, I have, but it was even more like, even when you go, oh, I should be able to make that, but I can't because I've got this. Now it's not even a thought for me. It's like, no, that's where I'm going to be. That's where I need to be. So I think that was the biggest lesson. And just kindness, like seeing someone on their deathbed buying the nurses presents to say thank you.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, like I'd be in the airport, my mum would be like, are you going past Victoria's Secret? And I'd be like, yep. She's like, great, can you grab this for this nurse and this for this nurse? I'd be like, oh. She's always thinking of others, and I always try and do that myself, like, and give people compliments and tell them they're beautiful, because you don't know what they're going through, and they may just need it.
And it costs you nothing.
It costs you nothing. Kindness is free.
Kindness is free, and it's really underrated.
Very much so, yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. So, cheers to your mama.
Yes, cheers to Jackie.
Cheers to Jackie.
Yes.
Okay, so the beauty in life is that throughout all these peaks and valleys, as bloody corny as it sounds, there's always a rainbow at the end. What's that Mariah song? I Can Make It Through the Rain?
Yes. Oh, what a great song.
Yes. So you have well and truly made it through the rain, honey. And it's been a joy to watch, even from afar, from interstate, your journey, because you can hear it in your songs now. You can see it. I saw you put your heart and sleeve into 9, and God, you worked hard on that album. That was your heart on your sleeve.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite Australian albums ever. And no, truly. But now, like, we have Bounce, and these songs will Bouncing in the Morning, which just are both so different, and I love both. But like, Bounce is my go-to when I'm sad, which during ISO has been like almost every day.
yeah, definitely.
It's just a great like start the day song. So I want to talk to you about this new season of life, and also I guess the process behind Bounce, because I know it was kind of your moment to face your LA fears head on and rewrite that journey for you.
Definitely. I think that, what we were talking about before, all of those things I experienced as a 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 25-year-old. And then I feel like when you turn 30, there's a new thing that happens, and you're like, I'm going to claim all my stuff and I'm going to try and just work through it. And you start to really want to do the work. And for me, I knew with this new record, I was like, I need to go back to LA, because every time I'd fly to LA, I'd get anxiety every time. Just from, I think, old scars. And just as soon as the plane would land, I'd start to have this little freak out, even though now I'm not in touch with any of those people and I've moved on from them, but it was just things that were left that I hadn't properly dealt with. And so I was like, you know what I'm going to do for this new chapter of the record? 9 was very much about my family in those times, and for this, I want to conquer this fear, because it's in the way. It's in the way of me doing my best and being my best for my fans too. And I just want to get past that little bit of insecurity that I've got left, within music. So, Yeah, so I made sure that I flew there, and actually, you know, my A&R was like, "Are you sure? Because don't you get anxiety when you go there?" I was like, "The point. I'm gonna try and really work on that."
Yes.
And I went there, and I just wrote the stuff that I love to write.
Mm.
I stayed in the studio all hours. I worked with new people. I put myself in uncomfortable situations. Like, you know, it was just a really great. And then I also went back to my people that I love too. But it just was a really great. It was I think 3 weeks, and I just didn't stop, and it was a great moment. And then I came back, and I was like, I think that there'll always be stuff. There'll always be stuff. But I think that now I'm in my power almost
Yes.
with my music, and I like that feeling. And I think Bounce was just the perfect first single because it was just like a fun, yeah. Because I was like, I don't want to do anything
Oh,
too heavy. I just want to do a fun song. And I'm just in the video. I'm just dancing. I'm just being myself, and I'm just having the best time.
I
And I
love it.
think that people can feel that, and that's what I wanted to do.
Mm. And now she's engaged. She's got a little doggy. She's a
I
doggy
do.
mama.
He's
Congratulations.
here.
Oh, hello,
Say hi,
Banksy.
Banksy.
Hi, Banksy.
Oh, he's exhausted.
Oh, Papa, you're so cute.
He's
Oh my God, I can't.
ridiculous. He will not leave me. He's right here.
Don't. I wouldn't leave him. You're so lucky. I've got a big dog. I wish my dog could sit on my lap. You're so lucky.
I know. I'm so
Yeah.
lucky. He's the best.
So you have lots of exciting things to look forward to. And I know that new music is coming out very soon. So can you give us any
Yes.
little sneak peek,
Well,
vibes, teasers? Tell us.
there is a sneak peek on my TikTok. So you've got to go to my TikTok for it. There's a tiny little sneak peek on there. But the next song is one of the ones I wrote in LA.
Amazing.
And I really love it. And whenever I've played it for anyone, they're like, "Oh, I really love this song." You know, those songs where you're like,
Yes.
I've listened to it over and over. I really love it. And I feel that way about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's good when you like your own songs.
That's
But
great.
it's a really nice one. It's a love song. I can't say too much. It's so hard to not say something about
I sort
it.
of saw something on your socials with like Patty in the video.
Which was a stretch because he does not let me. He's a no, like doesn't want to be a person. So it took me so much to get that going. But have a look at my TikTok because there's a little sneak peek on there.
Okay, amazing. So just a couple of things before you go, because I know you've got to sing soon. I actually really want to highlight the fact that COVID has been incredibly difficult on artists. And I get really frustrated because I keep reading all these reports that, like, you know, artists are an essential service, yet everyone turns to artists for joy and respite during this, especially during this time. And I've been really vocal in the last year, actually, about the fact that I think Australian pop specifically needs way more praise, way more attention, way more airtime than it gets. Because even as a gay boy, like, will be the first ones to be like, yes, Ariana, yes, Taylor, but like, we have incredible women in Australia that we need to be like yassing for. So
yes, I agree.
What can we do, especially right now during COVID, to support local artists? Is there anything we can do?
That's a really nice statement. I really agree with that because I always think of, like, you know, in Australia, we need to build the legends. You know, we don't want to always have to look to an international when we have them here in our backyard. And I think that that's why we have Tina Arenas and we have John Farnhams and we have Olivia Newton-Johns, because we built them to allow them to be legends. And I think we need to build those people up now so that one day they can take over and be that, you know. So I think that's very true. I think what you can do for music right now, and it has been a really tough time on musicians because we perform for a living.
Exactly.
So we haven't performed anywhere, you know. It's we can't hire our people as well, our band, and that's hard being someone who, you know, you feel terrible because you can't give them gigs and dances and all of that. So watching their content is probably the biggest. Listening to their music. There are so many great Australian artists that you probably don't even know about that you can go find on Spotify. You know, try and listen to the big hits, yes, but try and listen to stuff you don't know and introduce yourself to great new artists.
Can I just tell you, on the note of new and independent artists,
Yeah.
I've recently discovered your best mate, Zach, and his
Yes.
EP. Oh
Amazing.
my God.
He is so talented.
So
So,
talented.
yeah, and he has had, talk about journeys, like he has had a journey that's gone da 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 da, like
Mm,
he's been through the ringer, and another one who had a really huge deal, and
yeah.
just he's just done so much, and he's so talented, and I feel like you can hear that in his voice.
Oh man, he's incredible. I'm gonna share
Yeah.
something like that. And
Yeah.
he's also very easy to look at, just saying.
I mean, he's not bad looking. He looks like a perfect Ken doll.
Literally, literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so three quick fire questions before you go, darling.
Yes, yes.
If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, in history, who would they be?
That is a great question. Wow. Well, of course, for me, my mum.
Of
I would
course.
definitely want her there. Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh, good one.
I just want to know what she knows. What do you know? And also, I want to know everything about her. Like, I just think she was so flawless and flawed at the same time.
So true.
Her and Prince, and I would just pick his brain about music.
Yes, he was the best concert I've ever been to.
Same.
The best.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
Okay, amazing. I love that answer because I feel like you're a singer's singer. Like you sing, and Prince is like a singer's singer. Do you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, a singer, and just a all like can do everything and really well.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite song lyric of all time?
Wow, that's good.
Mm.
Wow, that's good. Well, I'll take it from my favorite song. So my favorite song is Unchained Melody, and I love that song. And when it goes into the big crescendo part, oh no, I'm forgetting it.
Like, is it the Lonely Rivers Flow part?
Yeah, to the sea.
Only to the sea, yeah.
On to the sea, yeah. Wait for me, wait for me, I'll be coming. Oh, it's there. My love, my darling, it's this. I've hungered for your touch alone. I've hungered for your touch. I just, on that melody, it's just something about that for me. And my mum and dad used to dance to that song in the lounge room, and I would see their love, and I just, something about saying I've hungered for your touch because it makes me whole again. Like, it's just beautiful. I love that.
Oh, you can sing to me all day, every day.
Oh,
Truly. Okay, and lastly, if you could
yes.
go back in time and give 17-year-old Samantha, who I believe was boarding that plane to LA, if you could give her one piece of advice, what would you tell her?
These are great questions.
Thank you.
I would say it's all going to be okay in the end. I would be like, seriously, take it from me. It's going to be okay, and you're enough. I think that that's something that my mum used to always say to me, and that you know, parents, sometimes you just let it go in the ear and out the other. I would truly take that on board and be like, you are enough. What you are is enough. Stop searching to be something. You're it.
Honey, you are more than enough. And it's been a joy to talk to you tonight. Truly a joy.
It's been so nice to talk to you. I miss you.
I miss you. Next time I'm in Sydney, I'm coming to Surrey Hills. Do you still live in Surrey Hills?
I've moved. I've moved to another area, but you can come over, and I have a great wine bar. I have a wine bar on my street, and we can take Banksy.
Yes.
So let's go to wine with him.
Let's do it. Now, someone was just asking if you can sing, but you're going to sing on your Instagram at 8 o'clock. So
do you know what? We're actually not doing it today, and I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Because my singers I was going to sing with, one is sick. So we're like, we can't do it. We feel mean just doing it with just one person. So we're going to do it next week. So we made tonight about you.
Ah, thank you.
But
I've loved those boys that you sing with. Is one of them Isaiah?
Yeah, Isaiah and
his
Joe.
Voice.
Oh my gosh. They are just
both of them.
And they have music too, so look up their Spotify.
Yeah. Amazing. I will do. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Big love.
Of course. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Bye, Banksy.
Bye. Say bye, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, what a delight. She's literally an angel. That's why I wore my new angel t-shirt for her. Oh, just so much love for her. And honestly, like, she is so talented and so involved, and she writes her music, and she really has her finger on every little detail. I will never forget when we shot Always, actually. You know, Sammy was someone who knew exactly what she wanted to wear. She knew exactly the mood, exactly the vibe. And that's not always the case. You sometimes you work with people and they're just kind of like, yeah, cool, I'll do whatever, like no worries. But she has her eye on the overall image, and she's such a talented woman and an incredible artist in our country. And we really need to get behind our local artists. So go support your local artists, look them up on Spotify, listen to their music. If they have merch, buy their merch. Once they start performing again, buy tickets to concerts. We really need to support our incredible Aussie music industry, and especially my pop divas. Tonight has been really wonderful. Thank you for watching. Thank you, as always, to Bay Wines. I've literally finished this bottle of rosé. I have something very exciting that's coming up with Bay soon, so stay tuned. I'll see you guys next Thursday. If you guys have not started at the start of this interview, it's going to be up on my grid, and you can watch it from the start within 10 minutes, I would say. Thanks heaps, guys. Have a good night.